Now, as all of us know, LEGO Star Wars sets are usually pretty expensive, and I'm always constantly getting questions that are like, oh, what's the best LEGO Star Wars set that's under $50, or up to $100, or up to $200, etc, etc. And on top of that, Christmas shopping is about to start sooner than we think, so I feel like there's really no better time to make this video. Today I'm going to go over what I think are the top 10 best current LEGO Star Wars sets under $100. And hopping straight into it, first I want to start off with just one honorable mention. Usually I have three, but for this video I only felt the need to have one, and it's 75396 Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit at a retail price of $80 US. And the reason I put this as an honorable mention is because I really wanted to include this set in the list in some way, because it has two phenomenal builds, that being a Desert Skiff and a really nice looking Sarlacc Pit. However, it is atrociously overpriced. $80 is absolutely awful for this set. It really should be no more than about $65. $80 is just awful. But again, like I said, the builds are just so good that I wanted to include it in some way, but because it's so overpriced at $80, I had to include it as an honorable mention. It just could not make the official top 10. But what did make the official top 10, coming in at the number 10 spot, is 75347 TIE Bomber with a retail price of $65. This set released in 2023, and so far it's definitely been a fan favorite. $65 for 625 pieces, 4 minifigures, and a pretty solid TIE Bomber is a really good deal. If you want a good starfighter and don't want to have to pay over $100, because most of them come in those 2-in-1 sets now, this is a really great set to get because it's honestly one of the best starfighters on shelves right now. And speaking of good starfighters, next up I have one that's been on shelves for quite a while and has no retirement date in sight, that being 75325 the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter, coming in at just $60. This one came out in June of 2022 and still has not retired yet because it's so popular and is selling so well, and for good reason. It's a great looking starfighter, and you get the Mandalorian, which everyone wants to get their hands on, all for just $60. And also it's pretty easy to find on sale, especially on Amazon. This thing's usually 10 or 20% off, so just like the TIE Bomber, if you want a good starfighter that's not in one of the 2-in-1 sets, this is a good set to go with. Next up at the number 8 spot, I actually have a battle pack, that being 75373 Ambush on Mandalore battle pack at $20. And really the main highlight of this set is just the minifigures. Those Super Commandos are awesome. Their helmets aren't quite as good as they could be, but overall it's a pretty solid figure. And then of course the Mandalorians are great too. The build, as you can see, is really just some Rockworks, which is pretty unique for a battle pack because usually battle packs are some sort of speeder or something. They're never usually terrain like this. And it's got a really awesome feature where there's this transparent piece that you can attach one of the figures to and make them look like they're actually using their jetpack and flying, which makes for some awesome display ability and playability. But still, like I said, the main highlight of this set is those figures that I think a lot of people that have gotten this set are really enjoying. Next up at the 7th spot, I have one of the most popular sets that has released this year, being 75387 Boarding the Tantive 4, coming in at $55. Now I do have to say, I kind of feel like that extra $5 is just unnecessary. This easily could have been $50, but I can't deny that getting 7 minifigures for this price point is super rare today with LEGO Star Wars. I mean, they're literally making $100 sets that only have 4 figures, so getting 7 in a $55 set is really cool. It's also one of the cheapest sets that includes Darth Vader. It also includes that 25th Anniversary 5's minifigure, which is not perfect, but a lot of people still like it and want to get their hands on it. And when you actually put the figures on the build instead of the scene, it's a great display piece. So if you're looking for more of a unique playset under $100, this is definitely one to go with. Next up at the number 6 spot is another pretty popular set, that being 75377 the Invisible Hand, coming in at $50. This is the first of many display sets that I'm going to have on this list. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I usually favor them, and I think this set is great. It's not the best mini-scale set LEGO has made, as you'll see more later on in this list, but people really do like this thing because it's the first sequel mini-scale set, and also the first time LEGO has ever made the Invisible Hand in some form, and it's also the cheapest one at just $50. If you're looking for a cheaper display piece and don't want to spend a lot on a UCS set or some other display set, this is definitely one to go with. Now making our way into the top 5, at the number 5 spot, I have 75381 Droideka, coming in at $65. This is one of the few sets released in 2024 that actually feels like it's worth its price point. And let me tell you, this thing looks awesome on display. In terms of accuracy, LEGO pretty much did a perfect job. I'd call it 100% accurate. It's got a really awesome feature where its arms can sort of shift back and forth to make it look like it's firing its lasers, and then of course it can roll up into a ball like Droidekas are supposed to do. Again, this is a great display set for your money and pretty much 100% accurate. Next up at the number 4 spot, I have what is in my opinion one of the best helmet sets ever made, being 75350 Clone Commander Cody helmet, coming in at $70 US. Now it is a bit overpriced, although I do have to say it just looks so good. LEGO did a phenomenal job on the shaping, especially around the visor visor, and the orange and white just looks really nice on display. And if you don't have any of the helmet sets or you're trying to get into them, I would recommend this one. It's a bit overpriced at $70, although it does have 766 pieces. It's a pretty fun build, and again, it just looks really good. Next up at the number 3 spot, I have arguably the most popular set that has been released this year in 2024, being 75372 Clone Trooper and Battle Droid Battle Pack, coming in at a price of just $30 US. Like a Droideka, this is one of the few sets this year that actually feels like it's worth its retail price. In fact, this thing actually feels like it's worth a bit more than what they actually charge for it. $30 is an insane deal for this set. You get 4 Clone Troopers and 5 Battle Droids, making it an awesome army builder. You also get a really cool Tri-Droid and some other little builds like a Barricade and a Stab. This is overall one of the most bang for your buck sets that LEGO has ever made, really. It's also a great playset and a very good army builder. Next up at the number 2 spot, this one actually might be a bit of a hot take, but I actually have 75375 Millennium Falcon coming in at $85 US. Now, I absolutely love this set. I honestly can't explain how good of a build it actually is. You really just have to have it in person, but it looks phenomenal on display, super compact, super detailed, a very fun build. It's got some awesome techniques to pull off the shape of the Millennium Falcon that were just really enjoyable to put together, although the only problem with it is that it's a little bit overpriced. $85 is too much. They maybe could have gotten away with 80, but for the size of the thing, I think 75 would have been best. It does have over 900 pieces, but again, all the pieces are really small because it's a pretty small and detailed model, so 85 just feels a bit too much, and that price alone is honestly what kept me from putting this at the number 1 spot, because again, I think the build is incredible, but it's a bit overpriced. But if you're willing to spend up to $85 on a very highly detailed mini-scale ship, I would highly recommend this set. Anyways though, now making our way to the number 1 spot, the best LEGO Star Wars set that is currently on shelves right now for under $100 in my opinion is 75356 Mini-Scale Executor Super Star Destroyer, coming in at $70 US. And just like the Millennium Falcon, this is just a really awesome build and great looking display piece. Super fun and satisfying to put together. There's a lot of cool techniques used. It's also even got some little miniature Star Destroyers that hang off to the side that are actually to scale with the Super Star Destroyer. And honestly, in terms of builds, I think this set and the Millennium Falcon are tied in my head. When I was making this list, I sat and looked at both of them on my shelves for like a good 10 minutes trying to figure out which one I thought was better. And honestly, in terms of builds alone, I think they're both tied. But I had to put this one at the number 1 spot because it's not really overpriced like the Falcon. It's actually a good value for what you're getting. Although still the Falcon is great, do not sleep on that set. If you find it on sale or if you want to spend up to $85, I would highly recommend it. But again, since the Executor isn't overpriced, I had to put it at the number 1 spot. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you think about my list down in the comments below, and if this helped you decide on your next LEGO Star Wars set under $100. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see the link on the screen right now.